Hello everyone, I'm Laura Boyd and welcome to another episode of Beatson Talks. Now in this episode I am delighted to be joined by the very lovely Lisa Adam and newly appointed CEO of Beatson Cancer Charity and former Director of Care Services, Gillian Hailstones. Lisa, welcome. I'm going to start with you. You looked shocked there.
I wasn't expecting to be first.
Tell me a bit about yourself and your connection with the charity.
Okay, I am 45. I am a mum. I am a newly retired primary teacher. Unfortunately, due to side effects from all my treatment, I can no longer work within the teaching profession. I worked with ASN children, and it was deemed that I wouldn't be able to cope physically with the demands of teaching. And I sadly have to agree. So my journey with the Beatson probably started a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I was first diagnosed in August 2005 with cervical cancer, and I was very young. I was still in my 20s, and young, free, single, having a good time. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. But I was really lucky. I had a fabulous medical team, and I had a radical hysterectomy, chemotherapy, and within a few months, I was able to start getting my life back together. And I did. I had 15 cancer-free years. And during those 15 years, I met and married my husband, Dave. We adopted our little boy, Mason. And looking back, now I had a perfect life. And probably people looking in thought we had a really good life. We went on holidays, had lots of fun. We had a good life. And then lockdown came for everybody. That horrible COVID time came. And I started to feel a little unwell. And I just presumed it was kind of cabin fever, just stuck at home. Although I didn't live that far away from my family, we weren't allowed to travel any distance, so I might as well have been at the other side of the world. And I really started to struggle. And I went to the GP and I got some tests done, and they sent me to the local hospital, who did some further tests, and I was sitting on my girlfriend's driveway after doing a COVID parcel. She had COVID and I was given a food parcel, and the phone call came in to say that I had cancer. It had returned, and I drove about 40 minutes home to Dave, who was working at home with the wee one. And as I was driving, I don't know how I got home, but I was driving along the road, my life, I could just feel it, everything starting to come in. Came running through the door shouting, Dave, 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 Dave. I think he thought I'd crashed the car or banged the car or something. And I told him, and that was it. Life changed completely. So that was September. It took us until about the December of that year to meet the fabulous Dr. Graham, Catherine Graham, who works at the Beatson, who, after a whole host of tests, decided what my treatment course was going to be. And in the January, we started on chemo and radiotherapy. And we did the whole course, and we got to May, and we got a clear scan, a clear MRI. Yes, great. Dave and I put our house up for sale, moving back to Largs, getting like everything that I really want. Life's looking good. And we'd just been in Largs a few months, and I started to feel a wee bit unwell again. Things progressed quite quickly, and I ended up with sepsis. And also we found out that the radiotherapy had damaged tubes from my urethra, so I ended up having to get nephrostomies, which was quite a trial, and it was quite horrific And I think that was because I had sepsis as well. I don't think it's that as complicated normally as
What
it
is
ended
that
up.
exactly, Lisa?
So that's when you have, it's almost like a stoma bag, but what happens is it's plastic tubes that are inserted into your kidneys via your back, and then the bag sits at the small of your back, at the back. And I had 2 of them, and I lived with them for just over a year. They decided at that point, after giving me lots of tests, that I wouldn't be strong enough to have any kind of operation. So my last chance saloon was immunotherapy. So we embarked on that. Dave and I pitched up for that just before Christmas. That would have been Christmas 21. We started that, and it didn't work. And then all of a sudden we got, yes, it's working. Yes, it's working. Yes, it's working. Yes, it's working. And I was feeling quite good. And then all of a sudden something wasn't right. And the tests then confirmed, it's not working. So we were absolutely devastated that immunotherapy wasn't working, because we had in our head, we'd been told this is the last chance. So that was quite hard to have to go home. Dave and I had to go home and tell our families it's not working. However, it wasn't stopping the cancer, because the cancer was too aggressive. What the immunotherapy did do was allow my body to get stronger again after the after the chemotherapy and the radiation. It bought me some time. So the immunotherapy wasn't a waste. It bought me some time to allow me to go and have a TPE, which is a total pelvic extenuation. So that means I now live with double stoma. My little boy calls them quite proudly my pee and my poo bag.
I love how they keep it real.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's no secrets in our house. Like, he's investigated it all, believe me. And that was November 22. And because of the margins and things that they have to ensure after all your treatments, to give you the best fighting chance possible, they had to take part of my pelvic structure away on the right hand side. So your pelvic structure is quite a solid part of your bone or your skeletal structure. So I'm quite lucky there. However, it has left me a little bit weaker on the right side. And also here, if you're looking at me, you can see that they've taken a flap of skin away from here.
Yeah.
They also did skin grafts from this side. And I am also the fortunate owner of, on my left hip socket, hairline fractures from the radiotherapy. So that area of my body is a little bit weak. So I had to learn to walk again after my operation. The operation was about 14 hours long. I don't know anything about it. My husband, I think it was a horrific day for him. He got the phone call from my cholesterol surgeon about 10:30 at night to say that I was okay. I was back on the ward, but I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks. God. And I had to learn how to do everything again. Things that you take for granted, like driving and taking your kids to school and walking the dog on the beach, all these kind of things don't happen anymore.
You are incredible. And I don't mean that to sound mushy or cliche or whatever, but it's that thought of you think your life's back on track and then to be hit with...
It was a real roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. Every time Dave and I left the hospital with good news, we thought, oh, that's it, we've done it, we've managed it, it's going to be okay. And then the next time, it was like the door slamming and like physically slamming in your face. And you just think, where are we going to go from here? How am I going to, like, I just kept thinking, Mason's only 5. Mason's only 5. Please, please, please give me a few more years. So it's a tough one.
It is.
How were you? Because you said Mason calls it your pee and poo bag. He's been very aware. How was it when you had to tell him Mummy's sick again, and how did you do that?
I don't know. We just didn't keep anything a secret from him. We didn't use the word cancer until very, very late through my journey. He just knew I wasn't well and there was different things going on. I don't know how he's coped so well. He's just coped tremendously. But I think it's because we've always said to him, if you've got questions, ask the questions.
I think that's a huge part of it. He can cope with it because you both give him that sense of security, even in such an insecure situation.
Yeah, it's just chaos.
He's got
at
trust
times.
with you, that he knows that you're being honest with him. He knows that he can talk to you and that you're telling him what he needs to hear.
Yeah.
Still being honest with him, but in a way that actually makes sense to him for the age that he is.
And Gillian,
and that's a huge thing.
Well, let's bring you in at this point. So tell us about your work with Beatson then.
So I've been with the Beatson Cancer Charity for about 4 years, I think. This is me into my 5th year with the charity.
Lisa, I find that one of the things I found really difficult when I was diagnosed was telling other people, we've spoken about children, but telling my mum and dad was one of the worst things. They were on holiday and I had to phone them up and, they answered the phone like, oh, hi, having a great time. And I was like, I've got cancer. It just kind of came out. And it was turning everyone else's world upside down. I found so hard. And I found that I had to be the brave one. I'll be fine. Even though I was crumbling inside, I was so worried about them. What was your experience like of that?
My first diagnosis, my mum was actually with me, and she fell apart. I'm actually giving her the hankies. The second time Dave and I were together, my mum didn't know that I had any inclination about anything being array again. And then we walked into my mum's house. She had the wee one, and I said to her, can we have a word? Can I speak to you and Dad? And we all sat down on the sofa, and have you ever heard somebody's heartbreak?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know I know that feeling. It's horrendous. And I think when you hear your mum and dad who are your strength, the people that are strongest in your life crumble, it is the worst thing. Are you okay?
I think it's really hard because in some strange way you almost feel responsible for upsetting the people that you love, even though it's absolutely nothing to do with you and nobody's chosen to be in that situation or to be the person that's doing that. But when you see the effect it's having on the people you love, there's a bit of you that thinks, oh, this is terrible, and it makes it really hard. And I think sometimes it has an impact on how you think about yourself in that moment.
My mum is the strongest person in the world and she is amazing, but she was like, right, we're going to fight this one. And you need that person in your life. But there also comes a point, and this is where I found it difficult because I didn't want to upset them even more. I just needed someone to go, let it all out. It might not be all right. This is pretty awful. Blah, blah, blah. I needed almost that negative side, or I didn't want everything to seem like it's going to be rosy, which is the way understandably everyone talks to you, but that's sometimes again where the centre can help, where there are people who are a step removed that you can chat to and have that out with. It's difficult, isn't it? People don't know what to say.
People don't know what to say, and I think the most natural thing to say is something to try and be really positive about things all the time. And as you say, I would say the majority of the time I am quite a positive person, but sometimes there was just things that I needed to process that I didn't want to upset Dave. I didn't want to upset my mum. Even my girlfriends, I'm thinking they're so busy focusing on me being well and, getting back to being me and getting on with our lives and everything else. And there's a part of me just at the side going, but what happens if and when and what about. And I think also for me, so many things physically changed, and because those physical changes then affected my whole life, you know, my profession and everything else, there was lots for me to try and process, and I didn't want to put it onto other people.
Yeah.
I was lucky the charity do some good support groups, and because I'd lived so far away, I was able to do them online. And also I had a clinical psychologist as well, so I had both things going on. And the peer support that I got through doing the groups, I think the lived experience.
The living with uncertainty.
Yep. Group, you know, the peer support and listen to the things that other people were saying. Like, although everybody's experience was completely different, there was similar themes there.
Yeah.
In the course or the group that I was in, there was a few people similar ages to myself, and then there was a few ladies that were slightly older. So it was nice to have a balance. You know, the people that were kind of in my age group could understand the things about having a young family and stuff like that. And then the other ladies were reflecting on things a wee bit differently, you know, maybe from being a mum of somebody in my kind of age group. So it was quite nice. And the support was there from the professionals as well to be able to guide us through topics and things that we wanted to discuss and things. And I think it's all part of realising that you're not alone. And I think that's quite important.
How are you just now, and how has all this changed your perspective on life? What makes you happy now? What do you enjoy doing?
I touch wood, well at the moment. I think this is the longest period since, I don't want to jinx myself, since September 20 that I've not had any treatments or anything. Good. So we are just enjoying having a quiet life at the moment. I'm really just grateful for what I've got, my family, my friends. I am looking forward to this summer, hopefully getting a mobility car with hand controls. Brilliant. So I will be able to have some freedom back. That's a huge thing for me. I'm no longer able to work, so I'm hoping that I can get myself a wee bit stronger, and hopefully next year, when the schools go back, I would like to start volunteering back in my local primary school again. So that's my hopes.
We are so grateful to you for chatting to us and being so open about it, and I'm sure it'll help so many people. And Gillian, to you as well, thank you so much. How can they get involved with Beatson?
So on our website, beatsoncancercharity.org, you will find information about all of the services that we provide. There is also email addresses, so even if it feels like quite a big thing to pick up the phone or to pop into the Wellbeing Centre and speak to somebody in person, you can drop us an email and somebody will get back in touch with you, and sometimes that's an easier way. If you're in the hospital, pop up to the Wellbeing Centre, ask at our welcome desk, even ask at the cafe, and they will direct you in the right place. We've got staff who cover a number of different hospitals, Clinic P at the New Victoria, we're down in Inverclyde, we are at Vale of Leven, one of our therapists visits over at the GRI, the Glasgow Royal Infirmary, the RAH. So again, speak to your clinical team. If you don't see any of our therapists around, look out for a pink or a purple tunic when you're in the hospital, and any one of those ways you will get in touch with us.
It's been so special to chat to you both. Thank you so much.